Okay, so tell me about Florence.
Florence was our second part of the trip after we from Rome, and Florence was really exciting because the girl I went with, Taylor, we had just taken an art history class like spring semester, and so we learned all of this, all the art and everything that's from Italy and from all these famous painters and stuff. And so we got to see, maybe about 10 of the things that we had studied. And it was just so cool. I can't explain what the feeling is like to study something on a textbook. Like the picture and like memorize the author, the artist, and memorize, the time period and memorize what it symbolizes and why it's important, why it's, relevant to that time period and, so forth. And to actually see it in person, it wasn't just like paintings, but there's one. It's like on the corner of churches. It's like the quattro fountain. It's like four fountains in Italian, and so we got to see that, and it was just so cool. It was so cool to be like, well, and walking around and knowing that you're walking on hundreds and hundreds of years of history, everything, the buildings were all the same. They had it's not like here. Like in America, everything's new. Everything, you build a new Walmart and then you just kind of leave it and you make a new one, There, all over Italy. This isn't just Florence. It was all history. Again, they're Roman Catholic, so there's so many things that date back showing that history. There would be, I don't even know how to explain it, but up against the walls, walking through alleyways, would be a little cutout crevice with Jesus looking down, or Mary, and hundreds of years old. It was just insane. And also in Florence, we got to go to the Golden Bridge, which is famous, just a little tourist spot kind of, looking out over the water, and it's where all the jewelers, it's just all jewelry, I'm not exactly sure, maybe a quarter of a mile of just jewelry, and everything's, it's not cheap jewelry, it's all expensive jewelry, but it's all the windows so you can see everything. So we went at the perfect time where the sun's setting, and the gold will, the sun will hit the gold, and it's all sparkly, and that's why it gets its name, because it's golden. Gold. It was just cool because we went during that time period, and we got some pretty cool photo shots. Also in Florence, so going around seeing all the all the art and the history there, that was pretty cool. Because also in Rome you got to see all the major tourist spots. But we went and snuck in and found all the pictures, studied that. But in Florence we also, it was the first time we actually met a local who took us out and showed us around too. He was our waiter actually at one of the restaurants that we went to. And he spoke English. So anyone who spoke English, you automatically gravitate towards more. Because you're like, okay, well, maybe you can help us out. So he was young. So after he got off work, he took us out and just kind of showed us around the nightlife. And also another cool thing, when we came back, is when the Jersey Shore, what season was it? Season 3 or season 4? Where they filmed in Italy. They filmed, it's just where they are. I can't even remember the name of the cathedral, but we were there every day, just a second away from where they were.
That's crazy.
So everything in all the episodes, I see something, I'm it was just so cool. I don't know. And also in Florence, God, we were in Florence for the longest time period. We set the most time for that, which, looking back in hindsight, I wish that we hadn't, because we kind of knocked everything out in one day. I had gotten sick, so one day I just stayed in bed half the day, but we brought a fever over to Italy. But the leather markets are famous in Florence, so just real leather, cheap, leather isn't cheap, but Italian leather, at your fingertips at a marketplace, where you can barter. So that was the most exciting. That was just, I could just stay hours there. It was just massive, it was 4 different road, or I guess it was 2 different roads, but 4 different paths you can go on. And there would be just coats, and there'd be purses, wallets, belts, everything imaginable of just all leather. And it was all real. It was either from cow or lamb, sorry to say, but it was. I mean, I got some awesome presents there just because who doesn't want to brag they have an Italian leather as if they bought it for expensive when in reality I got it very inexpensively from what most Americans will buy here. So that was by far the best part of the trip, and I regret that I didn't get more leather purses because, I mean, I could always use a leather purse. So, yeah, that's Florence.
What other artwork did you see? Just
I wish. Well, I mean, we saw David. We saw the big things, everything that most people would know. But, oh man, saw Birth of Venus. David was. I can't remember if that was Rome or Florence. I'm pretty sure it's Florence. That was Florence. That was insane to see because he is a whole lot bigger than I had ever imagined. Even if you memorize the dimensions for a test, you don't understand the reality of what that means or what that looks like. I mean, he was massive. And another thing that was, I mean, just crazy to see was his back, his left leg is cracking because his weight is kind of set upon that, and in the form. And so they have this thing hooked up. They actually have masking tape up against on the statue, which is just crazy, just because you want to keep it so pristine. But they have this small little machine that everyone, government agencies or whatever, use to measure whether there will be an earthquake. So they put it on his leg to measure, like, whatever the words are, to see if there are vibrations, like how much vibrations are going through that leg and how much it's going to crack. So they're measuring it because, there's already been a little crack. So that was kind of crazy to see. And, we also saw... we also saw the Sistine Chapel. I mean, that's probably the biggest highlight. It was, I mean, breathtaking. So vibrant, so colorful, and yeah, of course, every sign you see is no pictures, no pictures. Yeah, I mean, there's like so many people crammed into the room. The room is relatively small, and here we are snapping thousands of pictures. Yeah, I mean, because there's like a couple guards in there, but there's so many people crammed into the room. And we just sat down and you just like look. I mean, it's just so amazing. I mean, just because everyone recognizes that picture.
Yeah.
And so to, I don't know, be there and see it, it was an amazing experience. But to actually get to the Sistine Chapel was a field day in itself because it's so, they want you to go see everything else. So they kind of make you go through all of these processes to seeing everything else that they have. So it was like an hour and a half before we got there. I mean, but now that was in Rome. Oh, I don't want to give the wrong information. It was either Rome or Florence. They're kind of all mixing together. But so we saw that. I mean, we saw so many others, but the names, I would give out the wrong names. I don't want to do that.
Was it hard navigating in any places and finding your way around?
The third place we went was Venice, and that was most people know Venice is navigated through by water, and I've always known that. So going to Venice and then getting off the train, and we just step off, the feeling that I had looking around and you don't see any cars, and I don't know, just like I didn't realize what that meant. I didn't understand. I couldn't grasp that concept until we stepped off the train. Like, wait, how are we supposed to get around? How do people really commute? You think you can have like a little boat, like a little family boat. So that one was crazy to even just step off and just see and to understand. And so people get around. They have a metro system. So instead of underground with trains, it's just on boat. And that was, at every other place we had been able to get by. Like in Rome, we did have a difficulty, but besides that, we kind of realized, we'll get the grasp. Like, someone will be able to speak to us, someone will understand. It was just so chaotic and just so many different trains and so many, there would be like maybe 5 different types where they were going. And we didn't even know where a hotel was. It's not like we could just start walking. Like, you don't have a map. Like, the maps aren't, you know what I mean? It's not like you can just be like, oh, we need to turn here and here. It's like, oh, crap, we got to go on this boat to go this way and go on this water channel. So to actually get to our hotel from getting off the train, probably 2.5 a fare, when in reality it was just, just a mile away. Yeah, that was insane. And it was so hot. People, and there's other tourists too. It wasn't, but and a lot of people commute. So there's a lot of commuters, but everyone was really feisty. Pushing you around. Most places you could play the whole timid college girl, like, I don't know what's going on, but nobody was buying it there. And there wasn't even enough seats to sit down. Oh my God, I'm getting hot just thinking about how hot it was there. And so that was we got off thinking that we got off the right place, because the name for hotel, or something that all hotels have in their name, like maybe hospitality, they'd have it in their title. We took that as like that was their official name, if that makes sense, because we didn't know what that meant in Italian. And so we saw it, so we got off the boat thinking that we found our hotel, thinking, okay, that wasn't that bad. No, it was this really, really fancy hotel, and that just had, like the generic name in their title, and then finding the hotel was just, even then getting off the waterways, then that's when we had to get the map out and be like, okay, where do we turn? Well, there, everything is just, Venice was very cramped, like, obviously because you just don't have the roads. Maybe it just, you're cramped up against this one block that they've made. And so that's where everything was alleyways, like really, really, not dark alleyways, but it was literally insane. It was like you're walking, New York, if you've got underneath like the built tunnels that they're building construction, it was like that, but closed off completely. And so looking for this hotel, we couldn't find the number, asking for directions. So that was by far the most difficult to get to our hotel. Once we got to the hotel, I didn't want to move, but of course we started, moving around. It was also extremely expensive. Just again, we went to a lot of tourist places, and Venice, just being on the water. By the way, the water is not pretty at all. It's disgusting. It's polluted. It's not like I can just go jump in for a swim in the ocean. You know what I'm saying? It's disgusting. Oh, and they drop their dead in the water. So it's like, yeah, we, like on the metro, they'll, I don't know how the funeral percussions go or whatever, but yeah, they drop their dead in the water, in the ocean. Yeah, so obviously you don't go swimming in the water.
No.
And the gondola rides, that was all there, but that is so just for tourists. People back home will ask us, did you go on a gondola ride? Well, the gondola rides were about 100 or 150 euros for not even an hour.
How much is that in US dollars?
If it was 100, it would be 150 American. If it was 150, that would be $175 American. Not 170.
Wow.
150. Yeah, 175. No, maybe it's more. No, wait. 50, 25, 75. $225. Be $225 American money to go on a gondola ride. Because they just hype it up. Because Americans and other tourists hype it up. But they put in their little costumes. They're wearing the black and white, and they got the little hat. But maybe that originated. That was original at some point, but now it's just become a pure tourist. So no, we didn't do a gondola ride. And the food there was so expensive too. So yeah, I was eating pretty slim.